was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I had my usual breakfast in bed on Saturday morning.
Really?
Pancakes and sauce. Who else?
The children.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, before.
Nice. Nice.
So I had, then I'm trying to wean myself off coffee. I've been doing cocoa instead because I don't want to be, in this life that I'm living, I don't want to be addicted to anything. So since January, I'd weaned myself off Coca-Cola. I used to be an addict. Like I drink 2 bottles a day. But when I started the keto diet, I was able to. And I'm like, I'm not even craving for Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's a good one. So I want to gradually fade off coffee because I can't get the original one. You know, when we went for that, my birthday lunch, where they made that coffee. How do you explain it now? How they do that coffee? They brew the coffee, yes. I'm not able to brew. Yeah. And I heard that these ones we buy is not really healthy for us. So till I can get the one.
It depends on how it's grown. So it depends on how it's grown.
It's grown, yeah.
It's grown with, you know, chemicals and pesticides, or it's grown organically, all those things.
I think the
so cocoa is just
very, very important, which is that we're not hooked on anything.
Anything, you can do it with anything at any time, yeah. It's better.
I like that spirit of rebellion. Like, I can choose anything I want to do and say I'm doing it, and I can't.
How are you doing?
Yeah. I'm very good.
She's been rebellious.
The democracy, funny enough, it just occurred to me when you mentioned Democracy Day, Murayo, that we're celebrating our anniversary today, launching it, but we are doing it on a Democracy Day 12. When on the main day we launched was a Democracy Day, but May 29. It's just, we didn't plan it, we didn't think about it, but it just that same day. But
amazing.
My weekend was really, really good. I was the MC for the BOYLBS dinner, appreciation dinner for our program. And I don't think I've actually said this on the show since I've been on this program. It's a 9-month program, and there are about 67 of us entrepreneurs that applied just to go through the training, and it was sponsored by BOI. And I didn't know anybody there. I just saw it on Facebook and I applied.
And you got in.
And I got in. The people that interviewed me did not watch Your View. They didn't even know I was on TV until months after the training started, and they were like, why? How you know her from where? So there was no connection. Also, on Saturday, someone watched our show on Friday and applied for what Benga Adenuga was talking about in his program, the 250K being given away. He watched on Friday. He went there on Saturday. He pitched and he got the money.
Wow.
Connections needed. Many of us think you need to know somebody before things would happen for you. No, you don't.
Thank you.
Just move.
In fact, you couldn't have said anything.
Yeah.
Just move.
Mariam, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Yesterday was my anniversary, my wedding anniversary. We are now veterans, so I'm so proud of ourselves.
Tell me now.
Oh, we're 12 years in. Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah, so I'm blessed. I'm blessed. You see, marriage, I thank God for his blessing, yes. It's just been a wonderful journey. My children tried to, because their dad is not around, so the children did breakfast for me, and I would just talk, so.
All right, so we're also celebrating the series. There'll be a series of activities starting today, leading up to Friday, and we are pretty excited. But the first, we go through the headlines of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas. It shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Come closer. A little bit more. Perfect. I have exciting news for you. You asked for it and you got it. Your favorite breakfast show, Your View, will be going to 2 hours. We're going to have in-depth analysis of the newspaper review and more conversation. All right, we're going to start with The Nation. June 12, why we must defend our democracy by Tinubu. Subsidy palliatives, more buses for your state's free ride for peoples in Kwara. Chetima's last-minute push swing support for Akpabio and Abbas. My Nigeria Air story by ex-minister Sirika. Emefele's exit and the fireworks before suspension. Babangida to politicians use June 12th gains to deepen democracy. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let me start with our president's June 12th address this morning. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu this morning has reminded Nigerians of the sacrifices made to attain democracy, saying everything must be done to defend it. He also talked about some of the policies he cited in so far. He says reforms. He said that the judicial reforms have just begun. It's a bit to strengthen the rule of law, and also talked about the petroleum subsidy and why it had to go, because he said it benefited just a few and was not sustainable. He also talked extensively about the June 12, 1993 elections and all that happened and the abolition. And he said that, you know, there were other heroes of our democracy. He talked about Kudirat Abiola, the wife of Chief Abiola, who was brutally murdered while in the trenches fighting on the side of the people. He talked about he says we remember Pa Alfred Rwani as one of the heroes of our independence struggle. Major General Shehu Musa Adua, who was silenced by the military junta while in pursuit of democracy. And he said that because our democracy was fought for, you know, that many people made the ultimate sacrifice for our democracy. This is something that we must defend. He says, you know, during the elections, there's a way that it happens. People are arguing with each other, and sometimes people don't may feel like it's petty or does not reflect well. Right. Well, at least it shows that we have a democracy that is building, so we must do everything to defend it and hold on to it. He's said many other things, but, you know, really just in celebration of our democracy, and we should understand the importance of what we have.
So in a related story, also, former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida also make a reference to June 12th, and he said that politicians must use the elections to deepen democracy in our country. According to him, the gains of June 12, 1993 presidential election have not been exploited properly by political leaders in our country. As we know, it was adjudged the freest and fairest amongst Nigerians, and the Nigerians came out en masse to vote for their own leader. He said that currently thuggery has totally taken over our politics in Nigeria. Too many litigations in Nigeria, too many issues that are being caused that should have actually been addressed by what happened in June 12. He's saying that the current elections, the past elections we just had, should be a learning curve to help to strengthen and deepen our democracy going forward.
Yes, so we know that there's been controversy about the Nigeria Air. You took part of the story last week. But the former aviation minister, Hadi Sirika, has alleged sabotage by some key industry players. So he mentioned domestic airline owners and a former chairman of House of Representatives Committee on Aviation, Nolim Nnaji. Said he's the one that caused the delay in the national carriers takeoff. He said that while the airline operators under the aegis of Airline Operators of Nigeria, AON, begged him to truncate the project, Nnaji demanded the 5% equity in the project as a precondition for the support of the House Committee. But he refused to give in to the demand, and that must have made Nnaji go out to say that Nigeria Air was a fraud. There were speculations that they had spent over 53 billion on that, and he says it's only 5 billion that was budgeted for the Nigeria Air, and 3 billion has been, you know, released to the Aviation Ministry, which they have not even finished. They are still using the money. He says it was meant for acquisition of offices, payments of consultancy fees, worker salary, processing of air operators certificate. And you know that
the aircraft.
Yes, so the aircraft, they also accused him of you know, hiring the aircraft for that display. He didn't explain that what if the aircraft has been returned. He didn't say anything about that, but he said that they did not hire. He removed himself and the federal government that they did not hire. They only had issues with a lot of AON members, you know, begging that they truncate Nigeria Air. They didn't want, probably they have invested interest in international carriers, and so they are trying to truncate it, but that everything is open to investigation. He's ready to be investigated. People need to see that everything has been transparent so far.
Okay. Talk about any stories?
Yes, I want to take the Emefiele story. I haven't been on the show since then. I haven't been on the show since it happened. So the Nation is saying that the suspension of Emefiele has a lot of fireworks that heralded this situation. And one of the first paragraph was that the CBN governor didn't take advantage of exiting when the presidency under the last administration, because he had just 10 months left. On a normal day, he should have just stepped down and gone on a what they usually call it a pre-retirement leave.
Why?
And left when the ovation was high.
Which
and that
ovation?
he didn't take advantage. He said he was lucky that it was surprising that most people that he didn't take the golden opportunity to quit the stage whilst his erstwhile principal was in position. Okay. So that the handwriting was on the wall that something was going to happen, and so they felt that his suspension and he said no doubt that there are certain unpleasant experiences that would happen to him right now. They'll be investigating a lot of what he did during his administration. There are reports from different angles, from different people that in the industry that are saying this doesn't go well for Nigeria. This is the last two CBN governors did not complete their term. It's supposed to be a 5-year and then 5-year, and none of the last CBN governor and this current CBN governor seem to be taken off the stage in controversial manner. And one of the advisors was saying that to prevent this, it starts at the stage of appointing who the CBN governor is. That if we don't get it right at the point of appointment, then we'll be having these kind of issues happen. Some people also brought up the CBN governor doing more than advising on fiscal policy and going into monetary policies. And there are many things happening right now, but we're hoping that the reaction of the international market would not be to see Nigeria as an unstable place to do business, because we don't want to give that indication in a new administration.
Let's take the Punch. Democracy Day, Tinubu Hills MP Abiola promises to ease subsidy removal pains. DSS seizes Emefiele's passport, plans home office search. Over $56 billion lost to oil theft and subsidy, says advisory panel. Senate presidency backs Christian Senate President Betara Gaji step down. Okay, which story are we taking away?
So the presidency on Sunday has explained its decision to back a Christian as a Senate president. They said the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, at dinner with lawmakers across party lines in Abuja. This happened Saturday. He said that the party has come up with a consensus ticket for Senator Godswill Akpabio as Senate President and Jibrin Barrow as deputy in the interest of the stability of the country. He said, he was just trying to explain that because we have a Muslim situation as president and vice president, it was important to make sure that at the Senate president level it was a Christian, to show inclusivity. Of course, we have at the House of Reps level as well. I'm trying to be sure because the names I was expecting. Anyway, so at they also have the party nominated as House of Reps, Tajuddin Abbas, who's Kaduna Northwest for Speaker, and Benjamin Kalu for Abia Southeast for Deputy. Of course, given the consensus arrangement, we have some aspirants who are insisting that they want to contest for these positions. And those contestants include Senators Abdul Aziz Yari, Zamfara, Oji Kalu, Osita Izu, Maso, and of Imo West. Then we have Sani Musa from Niger State, who would not step down for the party consensus aspirant for the two Senate leadership positions. So they're asking to run for the position as well.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the grand comedian of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Gbenga Adeyinka the First. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Gbenga right here, 7 of 7. Like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the questions.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So.
Okay. So now one chance for enter. My first question. Do you remember the names of the winners of that edition of StarQuest?
Of course I do.
Why do you?
And I hate myself for this. Because I have this question for you. Final question. No. Where outside Nigeria and what year? Think you're the only one that can be wicked.
I am thinking because I know back in the day.
Don't think, oh, don't think. Answer my question quick. You are thinking too much. I don't like it.
The UK.
Final answer. Okay. I said, God, please, let me to perform outside Nigeria.
Wait.
And God gave me a show in Ghana. Drink, my friend, drink. I don't
overthink this thing. See where I can.
Yes, you overthink them.
I would say you should catwalk.
Let's catwalk now. Where are we?
No, that's not catwalking.
That's good walking.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. A few stories, human
Yes,
interest.
I have a human interest story. It said about 5 persons lost their lives in a boat accident, which occurred at Ubunla in Ilaje local government area of Ondo State. They said the incident happened last Thursday. The victims, who were seafood traders, were traveling on sea from a market in Ubunla. According to the president of Ondo State Fishermen Association of Nigeria, Orioye, he said that the victims failed to use their life jackets, and the only person who survived had his life jacket on, and he went ahead to advise that they must begin to enforce that for you to take the waterways in your journey, you must wear your life jacket. And also the government needs to begin to clear the waterways to avoid accidents. So most of the accidents caused are because there are things that obstruct the canoes and the boats from having a free flow of traffic, and so government must begin to clear that and see how they can enforce the use of life jackets.
All right, so still on flooding, traders in Shasha Market, Oshogbo, Osun State, urged the state government to expand the bridge on Shasha River to prevent incessant flooding of the market during rainfall. Lots of traders were really crying. Their stores were affected by the flood, and many of them, most of the goods were washed away. Speaking on behalf of the affected leaders, Iyaloja Agba of Shasha Market, Mrs. Rianat Lawal, said the market had been experiencing flooding in the past 5 years, and they've tried to reach out to the Ministry of Environment. However, the governor immediately had said that they must activate the Ministry of Environment plans for that area to prevent all their flooding. Anti-flooding activities must be resumed immediately, and they must speed up the channelization projects and launch implementation of flood prevention agenda of the state government to prevent this from happening. Many traders were really in deep sorrow because they lost lots of their life savings, their goods, and they're hoping that the government can also compensate them for some of this loss?
So a 35-year-old man has been arrested by the police for defiling a 9-year-old girl in Edo State. They said this happened in the Ubogi community of the Ovia Northwest local government area of the state. It was reported to the police. The suspect lured the victim into his room, had intimate knowledge of her, and gave her 600 naira after the act. And they said the police PPRO Chidi Nwabuzo confirmed the incident on Sunday. He said investigations have been carried out by the gender unit of the command. The police spokesman also added that the victim, the 600 naira, they found the 600 naira with the 9-year-old victim. So this is from 39-year-old to a 9-year-old child. And it's really sad, but I'm happy that they were able to get, there's sort of like a quick, they reported to the police, there's investigation, he's been arrested. It happened in January, but the case is now, we're getting like...
Can we have like an executive order where the president can just, you know, when in cases like this, just
once
kill
you
the guy.
can prove it immediately.
Just shoot the guy.
Have to be able to prove
blow up,
it.
Once you can
blow
able to
up,
prove.
blow up the head. I mean, we need to see some of those blowing up of heads. Because you can't, I mean, I know it's not. I'm saying it's a 9-year-old child.
I understand.
God forbid.
So
Some of us, we need to just start get some drastic actions. You know, we've seen drastic actions. Anyway, let's move on. It's not our hot topic. Vanguard used June 12 as lesson to drive Nigeria's development. NMDPRA accuses ExxonMobil of all theft. June 12 implements a revised report on governance, says NADECO. Economic uncertainties, insecurity drive up life insurance. Failed transactions, banks orders, trade blame as customers' agony persists. Fuel subsidy, school owners groan, seek government's assistance. Yeah, which story are we starting with?
School owners in the country, under the auspices of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, NAPS, are crying out to governments to assist them in coping with the fallout of the removal of fuel subsidy, which has increased their cost excuse me, of running their schools. They also told parents to prepare to pay higher fees next term as a result of the current prices of petrol. So to arrive at the decision, find a means of coping with this situation, they had a webinar entitled Government Policies and Resultant Effects of Private School Administration, a case study on the removal of subsidy. And according to the president, while he was addressing the participants, he said the policy had far-reaching implications, not only on private schools, but also on the education sector as a whole. And government policies have a profound impact on various aspects of our lives, and education is no exception. So they need a plan. Government needs a plan to specifically support schools and even the private schools so that they are able to run and not go under this period. We really do not know how long this subsidy is going to, subsidy removal is going, how long the effects are going to be felt by the common man. And so government needs to reach out to every stakeholder that's involved, businesses, and see how they can support them. I received an email requesting for the receipts of the school bus payment that I had made. I should resend it again. And I panicked. I was like, do we send half term or we send every term? And so I found it. I now sent it back to them. They say, apologies, they just wanted to check. I say, hey, these people want to find a way to increase the prices, which I wouldn't blame them.
Okay, another story in Vanguard.
Yeah, so this is from Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA. They're asking for the detention of vessel Baramk gas for illegally lifting butane at Bonny River Terminal. The Chief Executive, Farouk Ahmed, has accused ExxonMobil of collaborating with the vessel owners to engage in oil theft and economic sabotage. They said that they wrote a letter and they're saying the Chief of Defense Staff, they're asking his attention to be drawn to the illegal petroleum lifting operations taking place at Bonny River Terminal. And they said that this unlawful action is being facilitated with the active connivance of ExxonMobil, who has illegally destroyed the locks on the sea line valve, and the keys are in the custody of the authority. Goes ahead to say that this is economic sabotage, criminal damage, and theft of Nigeria's national resources. But the manager, media and communications for ExxonMobil have responded, or he has responded and says, in response to inquiry, we wish to state that all operations of the NNPC-MPN joint venture are carried out in full compliance with the law. So an allegation has been made, a huge one that is, and I guess we would find out eventually how this plays out.
So some people are enjoying from, some industries are enjoying from the economic uncertainties in Nigeria. The industry is called life insurance industry. So they said that statistically they've had major improvement, 18% improvement between 2022, that more people are asking for life insurance, and that they have 309 billion naira has been spent on insurance premium. That's according to the National Insurance Commission, NICOM. They said this may have been attributed to after COVID. COVID was a major decline because people did not. Okay, people.
Okay, can hear you.
Yeah, they can't hear me at the moment.
Okay, right. While they're trying to fix you. A group by the name of Pristine Initiative for Social Development said all subsidy was a multi-trillion naira scam whose beneficiaries were well-heeled, rich, and powerful. And it was actually advising the president to be ready to face serious backlash and confrontation from these oil subsidy cartels in the aftermath of this final withdrawal. According to him, he was also referencing what the vice president had said, that these guys have deep pockets and they'll use everything they have to stop, they'll use everything they have to get this policy to be reversed. However, they are saying that they also support the president, saying that they praised him for his courage, but he must be ready for the aftermath of this subsidy removal. We have to move on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story of not taking. There's not much here. Your sacrifice shall not be in vain. Tinubu tells Nigerians in first broadcast. Race for speakership, Batara Gaji stepped down for Abbas Kalu. I know there's some stories inside, so you can take.
Yes, I have a story inside. Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State has approved deployment of government buses to support movement of students and workers in public tertiary institutions within Ilori, the capital city, and its environs. So in a statement by the Chief Press Secretary, CPS, to the Governor, Rafiu Ajakai, the bus palliative for the students covering the metropolis is the second phase in the measures. We already know the first phase, which is the fact that he had reduced the work days from 5 days a week to 3 days for workers, and now they are going to be providing buses. They said from Wednesday, June 14, large buses will be deployed to transport students, public and tertiary institutions within the metropolis. And that's not all. Edo State also is providing 24-hour free Wi-Fi in various MDAs and other public places in the states to ensure unlimited access to the internet for workers. And they also are doing 3 days a week, aside from, as against the 5 days, So they mentioned some of the areas. So if you're, not just for people in the office, for even those who are living around the office areas, a few kilometers away, you have access to Wi-Fi to ensure that you are able to
for those who are not on the days on, they can go to these places then and use the Wi-Fi.
That
I guess governors are getting creative.
Yes.
Times are changing.
Yes, Osun State had said he's working on his own palliatives to help his people, but he will also be looking at transportation and interventions for workers. And also, that's
so I even did palliative for my own staff too. I told her one more day. She comes. She used to do 1 day off, so I've now made it 2 days off. So in our own ways.
We're all trying to do it. We have to run. That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, multiple award-winning actor, producer, ambassador of Edo people, we have Etinosa Idemudia in the building.
Don't be first to go police station, they win the case.
Is
So
she?
you are showing yourself.
I go see as my second
You are
question.
feeling like a contact the prancing peacock. I'm about to cut your wings. Hello? Now, in the amalgamation of 1914, who was the woman who drew the line of the amalgamation? Who cut the report? Who is the person that used scissors? What is his name?
That woman.
You have done me dirty. I've marked your face. I've marked your face. If anything happened to me today,
I don't
if I don't reach my house. Anyway, I'm gonna be chauffeured, so.
You remember now, Avi? But you never too thin. Now you remember.
Hey.
If a person who indulges habitually in watching a sexual material is called a voyeur.
That's what they're called.
It clearly say you don't go even get the next one.
Hey, a voyeur.
Voyeur.
Then go on.
What is a person who makes one
A
called?
voyeur. A voyagist. A bon voyage.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger!
Yeah, take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
Ha. I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
Eh?
I said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75.
I confirm.
Fellas wasn't even born till 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half. I try.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It all starts.
Ọmọ Fẹlá. Ọmọ Anikulapo Kuti. Wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by all this one. It's not by all this one.
Everything paper and everywhere so my name now anointed.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops,
Thanks for staying with us. This morning we'll be discussing the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation. Many will call it a ministry, it's actually a parastatal under the Ministry of Finance, tasked with protecting the banking system from all sort of instability occasioned by runs and loss of depositors' confidence in the system. Joining us on the show right now is to discuss the details of the newly signed Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation Act 2023 is the board chairman of Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, Honorable Abdul Hakim Abdul Latif. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you. So 48 hours before the former president left, he was actually able to sign on the act. And this has garnered quite a bit of controversies. Could you tell us a bit of why so many people are really interested in this issue of the NDIC Act?
Thank you so much. It has led to a lot of controversies. One, because Buhari signed this act without reading it.
Okay.
They deliberately made it 48 hours before he left because they knew that a president who is handing over has a lot to do, you know, and they knew that he had said that I cannot wait to leave. So they took this bulky document to him to sign. The second fraud.
Okay, before we go into the fraud,
Yeah.
let's start with what is NDIC. Let's people don't even understand what it was created for and why this was an important document.
Okay, Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation is meant to be an independent agency. Mark the word independent. Because the government wants to ensure that the deposit paid by Nigerians into banks are never endangered by the conspiracies of either the central bank or the deposit money banks.
Okay.
To ensure that whatever misbehavior is being displayed does not affect Nigerians. Eventually, if the banks fail, the NDIC is there. One, the first mandate of NDIC is to guarantee the deposit paid.
Okay.
And tell all Nigerians, relax. If they are misbehaving, it won't touch you.
Okay.
The second is to ensure that prevention is better than cure. NDIC should always visit the banks and look into their books and ensure that the way they are operating these banks does not eventually endanger the depositors. So that's why you see NDIC inspecting banks. The third aspect is that if eventually the central bank declares a bank as a failed bank, the NDIC goes into the bank to begin to make depositors happy. Mark my words. I'm using the layman's language.
Yeah.
Depositors come. How much have you paid? We're going to pay you your money now. Relax. So, the first, for example, if you pay, whatever you pay, if it is up to 100,000 or 200,000, they give you your entire money.
Yeah.
But those who pay more than that, in respect of microfinance, they give them 200,000. And say, we know you pay more than that. By the time we recover the debt, this bank is owed, we're going to balance you. Then those who are in commercial banks, we pay them 500,000. And say, even if the bank is owing 50 million, relax. We will run after the debtors and collect it. And the fourth role of the NDIC is to now liquidate the banks, you know, sell the assets, and return the dividends to the shareholders and the creditors. You know what they have done? With this act, the first, I said, I told you Mr. President did not read.
The former.
We have to be, the former president.
Yeah, sure.
We have to be fair to him. He did not read. No reasonable person who does not want fire to burn him inside the grave will sign this act. Number two, when I was appointed, I wrote an acceptance letter that went viral. I said, I am not celebrating. And I said, do not congratulate me until I have left NDIC better than I met it. The moment they knew that we were appointed, they introduced a new bill to the National Assembly.
Who are they?
You will get to know them.
Very soon.
So, because I was interested, I'm a lawyer of over 30 years at the bar. I've been a lawmaker at the House of Assembly. And I know that it is the law that is passed that I have to implement. There's a difference between the law as it is and the law as it ought to be. I know we were appointed under the NDIC Act 2006, which guarantees the independence of NDIC. So I was interested, so I went to the National Assembly. I sat anytime they wanted to discuss this bill. Until this bill was passed, there was no Section 7 that replaced the old Section 7. The old Section 7 says, Mr. President shall be free to appoint anyone that he feels competent to be the chairman. And Mr. President shall be free to appoint one representative of the 6 geopolitical zones to monitor NDIC. And the Federal Ministry of Finance, being one of the shareholders of NDIC, shall select one director to represent the federal government in the board. You know what Emefiele has done? And I'm bold to say this. Emefiele and his cohorts in the NDIC, they decided to remove the power of Mr. President to appoint competent Nigerians. They now say, in the new act, which I said was not part, the reason I said it was not part of what was discussed at the National Assembly, I have a copy of what the National Assembly passed in their vote and proceedings.
Wow.
I'm a lawyer.
It's different from what
different from what they took to the president.
Is that legal?
Illegal.
How is it possible?
The vote and proceedings.
How is it possible?
Yes, the vote and proceedings is the official. You say, the current president wants to fight corruption, and corruption will fight back, and every one of us in every agency must stand with the president. Now, look, the way they do it is this. When they know that what they are bringing is fraudulent, they will not present it before the National Assembly.
To look through.
Because let me tell you, we are just saying Nigeria is bad. There are so many men of integrity in the National Assembly. They will not set their conscience. No National Assembly member will watch you remove their power to appoint competent people in the 6 geopolitical zones.
So what was?
And remove them.
So what was that one?
In the new act, they fraudulently made the permanent secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, as the chairman. Watch. You listen. I've never heard it in my life that a PS will go ahead. It's like saying a minister should go and head National Assembly. I went to the PS. PS, you know about it? PS says, I swear by my God, I know nothing about this. He said when it was suggested to me, I told them several times, I am too busy as a permanent secretary to be pretending over NDIC. I have too many things. He told me that day that as I sit here, 36 commissioners of states for finance are waiting for me. They know that I will not have time to pretend over it so that they can be doing all the rubbish they want.
So these are.
So let me explain. I have not finished what is there.
Okay.
The new composition now says Mr. President cannot appoint managing director or executive director except the people recommended by Emefiele.
No, or CBN governor.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying now. You understand? They put CBN governor there because they think they will be there forever. They say, because you cannot restrict Mr. President. Mr. President must be free to appoint competent economists, competent accountants, irrespective of whatever.
So, let me ask you, has this sort of anomaly happened before?
It has never.
Okay, so what do you think is the solution to correct it?
Yes, so I'm going to the solution. Okay. You understand? Let me finish the composition of the board. You have not heard, though. You have not heard
all the controversies. The second one.
They have also killed the morale. They have killed the career progression of the 1,600 staff working in NDIC. You know, when you are working as a teacher, your plan is one day I will become principal. They are now saying that any staff of NDIC can never become executive director, can never become managing director, because it is an agency outside NDIC that can recommend, which is the central bank. And we said NDIC is an independent agency. There's a lot of protest in NDIC now. The staff, they have been demoralized, they have been demotivated, because even stylishly, the current executive directors, they have removed them, according to them, because those ones were freely appointed by the president before, but now it has to be under the recommendation of CBN. They have also, in this new act, removed the representative of Ministry of Finance.
Okay, I have to go on a break because these are really interesting, and strong allegations, and I know that. But let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
This is 7 of 7. My name is OJ, and signing a sobriety into my hands tonight on this social experiment called the 7 of 7 is Owen G. What is the name, or what was the name? You said I want to make them better now.
Rock Heart.
No, of the goat when they brought it on stage.
The name of that goat.
Yeah.
We should go there.
No, that one easy now.
I'm just drinking this so that I can ask him my own questions. It's not because of
Buga.
he didn't get it. You know. Okay. Mention 10 female stand-up comedians in Nigeria. See, just mention their stage name. If you annoy me, you will mention their real names and the year they started. And if you annoy me further, you mention the names of their husbands and the names of their children. Try me now. Okay, mention their name.
No, let's just.
No, wait. No, don't. No. Name, real name, stage name, husband name, children name. 10 of them.
Even the 10. That's a lot.
Eh?
That's a lot.
Did I cut your question for you?
Yes.
When you were happy now. With your hunchback.
That was it.
You are wasting time. We don't have time. See, my brother, before we go on a commercial break, you are stubborn. And I told you since. The fact that you play this your hair does not mean. You understand? See this bad hair you are looking at. It's experience. I've suffered before you.
But I try now.
When you there during the military era of Abacha and Babangida, you know what happened?
I be Gen Z.
So that Gen Z, I will remove 4 out of 10.
That's like
4 out of 10 they pass exam. Don't drink this thing. Where baby you are on here. Drink out. If I land you.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome pioneer Positive Force member, dancing queen of the 80s, non-conformist, Afrobeat historian in her right, and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni Yeni Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger,
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
I know I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
Eh?
I said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Fellas wasn't even born in 75.
So will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all, my brain cannot memorize everything.
A big black bug.
A big black dog.
Bug. A big black bug.
Oh, sorry. A big.
It don't start.
Ọmọ fẹlá. Ọmọ Aníkúlá Pókùtì. Wọ́n rò pé kí ni kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have our guest with us. Mariam had a question before the break, or?
No, he was going to.
I wanted to. I was going to let you
allegations.
continue about all what you've been saying, because I know that you reached out to us because you wanted to be here this morning, and so far I've heard quite a few of the allegations you put up. As BC said earlier, what exactly do you hope to achieve by this engagement?
Okay. First and foremost is to enable the NDIC discharge on its mandate. I told you that the mandate of the NDIC is to protect depositors. With this new act, NDIC will no longer be able to protect depositors. One, NDIC is established as independent so that NDIC would not be disturbed by the CBN. Will not be disturbed. But now, they have introduced 35 new sections under which NDIC now needs to go and seek approval of CBN before it can discharge its duties.
Wow.
So there, you will now see that even to go to banks to go and inspect their books, they said central bank must approve.
You can't monitor
So
them.
you have taken away the independence of the NDIC.
Yeah.
They put there with the concurrence of central bank. Why? I want to inspect and ensure that the central bank itself has not conspired with other bank directors, to endanger my depositors. But I can no longer do it. It is even there that when I discover that I need to pay this depositor because this bank has failed to pay the depositor, it says I should go to central bank and get approval before I can pay that
Who
depositor.
funds NDIC? How do you fund? I mean,
So
there's
I'm
too many
wondering
questions.
that, you see, the real worry for me is, though you've pointed fingers towards the former governor, the suspended governor of the CBN, Emefiele, to be the one behind this change, officially, who put this document together? And who were the ones that took it to the president to have it signed?
You see, what concerns the ordinary citizen, because I am an ordinary citizen.
Yeah, not an ordinary citizen.
Yes, because what concerns me is that the National Assembly is the apex law-making institution in Nigeria. If the National Assembly accepts a bill, it means that that bill is either an executive bill from the Federal Executive Council, or it is a legislative bill sponsored by a legislator, which is a private member bill. Even the judiciary can sponsor bill. As an NGO, TVC can sponsor bill. So the National Assembly will now go through the bill, first reading, second reading, third reading, committee stage, public hearing, and everything. Now, what makes the National Assembly is a bicameral legislature. So it is the Senate and the House of Representatives. Once the Senate passes the law, it will now take it to the House of Representatives to have concurrence of the two houses. If there's any section that is materially different from what was passed to them, they will convey a conference of the two houses. Members of this house will sit with members of this house. They will iron out the differences, and then the clean copy will now be forwarded to Mr. President.
Okay.
I monitored the process when it was passed by the Senate. This is their vote and proceedings. It does not contain all these I have mentioned here. Now I monitor that of House of Representatives. They concurred with the Senate. There was never a time there was any material difference in what they did, which means we expected that this is what will be taken to the president. But along the line, on the way to Asorok, new sections were introduced by people who are not members of the National Assembly. In law, if the president signs an act that is different from what was passed, that act is inchoate. Inchoate means there is a material omission of what ought to have been done, and that act is null and void. Because Mr. President alone cannot make acts. Act must be the concurrence of the two houses. So that's why I said, do you know why they did not introduce that section to National Assembly? Why? Because they know the senators are reasonable people. They will never allow you to be a judge in your own cause. Why will you not have somebody to monitor you? Why will you remove the representative of the 6th geopolitical zone, who are representatives of the people of Nigeria, from monitoring you? Why will I say you should monitor yourself?
I have a question, sir. So I think this is a criminal act, if you ask me.
A crime has been committed.
Yeah. So who are we chasing right now? from the point he left the 2 houses to be presented to the
That's the
president.
question I asked.
Yes. Who in between? Who is responsible, and who can we hold responsible for this?
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will tell us who to investigate. He's the president. He's in charge. They are fighting him back. With this type of law, he cannot achieve his goal. Because depositors will be crying and they will think it is the president who is denying them their happiness.
Money. Okay, so apart from you now, I would be expecting to hear from the House of the National Assembly.
Yes,
if
to
they
corroborate that
yes,
we did not
that what
get.
they had sat on is different from what has been signed.
I have
Else, it
senators.
will come across as you trying to protect your own seat because you've noticed that the new act sort of takes you out, of your seat. Could that be? That's some people will be sitting there and saying it's because the board chairmanship is no longer under the purview of the president. The CBN governor would have to bring in would determine who becomes board chairman, and you feel that that may affect your seat right now. So we need to also hear from the senators and House of Reps if what you have just alleged is true.
You want me to respond to that?
Yes, please.
Nothing has affected my seat. I am sitting as comfortably as I am now. That's the way I'm sitting in NDIC. Let me tell you. When a law is passed, repealing an old law, there is a section called savings. And under what Buhari signed is in section 98. It says everything done under the old act remains valid. I was appointed under the old act validly by Mr. President. On the 9th of May, the Senate validly confirmed my appointment. At that point, the exercise is completed because our appointment is based on Senate confirmation. Even the current MD and the EDs, they were appointed under the old law and confirmed under the old law. So if you look at section 6.1 of the Interpretation Act, it says when a new bill becomes an act of Parliament, nothing in the old act will be rendered invalid on account of that. You understand? So this new act only affect future development. I am saying it today because tomorrow, Mr. President has the prerogative. He may dissolve the entire board of all boards. You understand? So, but any board coming in will not be able to achieve anything. And also, Mr. President, we are going to call on Mr. President never to act on the new act. He should order immediately an investigation and a repeal of that act and allow members of the National Assembly to now sit section by section and act. We said NDIC is independent. Have we not taken their independence with these new 35 sections? Can they now properly protect the deposit of Nigerians when we say they should always go and seek the permission and approval of the governor of Central Bank? Have we not tied the hands of Mr. President from appointing competent people as MDs when we say only the people recommended by the CBN governor they are those that the president can appoint? Have we not killed the career of all the workers in NDIC by saying that they can never have career progression to the level of executive director and managing director?
Okay, I think we can end with that. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. As I said, this is a sponsored segment, and I know you wanted this portion of the show to be able to express your views on this. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to go on a break now and come back and move on to other segments. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Made Kuti in the view. It's still 7 of 7, and we've been doing a whole lot of protesting. The only thing that remains is just to carry placard.
It's about 5 of 7, to be honest, because ask your question. I have so much to speak about once we finish.
We will not give you the time because it's 7 of 7.
I will make the time now. He said he will not ask questions about science.
No.
Neuroplasticity.
And based on...
He asked a question that was subjective about high life. And he did not finalize his answer about a Kuti question where there are only 3 of us.
Editor, scratch this part out.
That could have possibly composed the music.
Editor, scratch this part out.
Stupidity is an act of ignorance.
Hey God, Made.
Was composed by which Kuti?
Femi Kuti.
Sorry, Fabulous.
God, I'm Seun Kuti. No, wait, Femi Kuti.
You said
Femi
Seun
Kuti.
Kuti.
Wait.
You can't be allowed.
No, you've
You
not
can't
asked me
guess
anything.
everyone.
You've not asked me anything. So my final answer.
No. All I have to say is this show is really about drinking.
Yeah, that's the whole idea.
The questions don't matter.
That's the whole
Justice
idea.
is out the window.
We throw caution to
We
the
have
wind
no
right
morals here.
on the 7 of 7.
If you not jump person, person go jam you.
You know, every time you open that your stupid mouth, you show exactly what you know.
What?
You are drunk. Jesus! You can't defend your wife anymore now, Julius.
Right.
None of this is his fault.
What's going on?
I can't explain, just come.
We are the Durojais.
We are the Akbans.
We are the
Obioras.
So how are you two doing?
Who cares?
She's a rude girl. You are a stupid man.
Oh, Miss Miller, you are a stupid woman.
I mistakenly carried her bra. Mistakenly.
You took my bra. What gives you the right?
He said he can face you.
This is interesting.
What?
I thought all we were doing was for your own good.
Which is to get married.
Get down here.
If you had fainted and you just woke up, what would you like to eat?
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome the one who can make time stand still forever, Mr. Kelechi Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, Abi.
It was great.
Okay,
Thank you.
We
Thank
try
you.
like that.
Thank you.
Now my question, which I feel is a cheap question.
Oh, go ahead.
What does ISO stand for?
That is it. I think I'll drink.
No, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
Kelechi Amadi. No. She, you didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink. No problem.
Okay.
I've always known it as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. It's out there.
It's supposed to be,
yeah. I just said, let me give you this one.
Thanks for staying with us. On this segment, we'll be looking at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's democracy speech this morning. We'll be reviewing and analyzing the major highlights of the speech. You can join the conversation on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. We know lots of people are discussing the speech this morning. Most TV shows are having the same conversations, but we'd like to hear from Nigerians. What are your thoughts? Many of the highlights have been put out on social media. Do you think, what are your thoughts on the speech? Do you think it was inspiring? Do you think it was much needed at this time where we're still battling with the issue of fuel subsidy removal? What are your thoughts on his speech? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, and they would like to hear. I know that I've said this before on this show because I've heard the president say it several times that that his famous last liner that if you cannot endure the pains of defeat, you cannot enjoy the success of the joy of victory. And this is something that those around him have always said and reiterated quite a number of times. But he said it again in this speech this morning, and it was just alluding to the fact that the beauty of democracy is what we're experiencing in the courts, that when there are aggrieved parties, we must use democracy, and we must continue to deepen our democracy in different ways, and to ensure that we don't lose this much cherished system of government that has actually benefited all of us. So let me come to the ladies. I know, what are your thoughts? I know there's a part of the speech that I thought was pretty crucial for me. There's a part of it that I really thought was really important, where he said that, where the president specifically said that we shall be faithful to truth, faithful to equity, and faithful to justice. He said that we shall exercise our authority and mandate to govern with fairness, respect for the rule of law, and commitment to always uphold the dignity of our people. I thought that was powerful, and I thought that's something that we needed to hear at this time. What are your own thoughts on the speech, and how do you think that it played out this morning?
I mean, for me, I read part of the speech, during the paper review. There are different parts of the speech that resonated with me. But, even though it was about Democracy Day, he took the time to talk about the fuel subsidy. And he goes to say that he understands that this is a sacrifice that we have made and the burden will be quite high. But then he would repay us through massive investments in transportation, infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that improve the quality of lives. So I appreciate that because, we're talking about democracy, and he spoke extensively about the 1993 elections and how that was, sabotaged and where we are today, but also took the time to talk about the most pressing issues of today. And it is the fuel subsidy removal, and Nigerians are thinking, how are we going to go, where are we going from here? How is it going to move on from here? And so the opportunity to speak more about it, he took the opportunity to speak more about it. And it gives me hope that, he understands that we need massive investments in healthcare, in power supply. He mentioned all the things that we constantly talk about. And I know that it may, to a lot of people, they would say, maybe this is just talk, wait until he does it. But for me, I believe that it starts from talking. It starts from recognizing what the issues are. It starts from, the questions we asked from the very beginning is like, why did he say anything if he had not given us a way that we are going to get out of it? He shouldn't have said anything until he had given us, he had broken down the process in which he was going to go about the subsidy removal. And now he's also telling us where his investments will be. And he's saying, and he's assuring us. I like that, and I feel that it will give a lot of Nigerians some hope and something to look forward to down the line.
Yeah, so I liked the facts about the rule of law. He talked about it. He said his administration will not condone conflicting and illegal orders that undermine Nigeria's democracy. He also talked about the bill he signed June 8th for the harmonization of the retirement age for judicial officers, as one of many policy reforms that will come. We've had issues with people at the helms of affairs not paying attention or not obeying the rule of law. And now this is a president who is saying that the rule of law must be held, must be sacrosanct to the Nigerian people. That also means that if anything touches anybody who is at the helm of affairs, who is in position of authority, the rule of law must prevail. So it's hope for democracy, so to speak, that everybody is under the law, nobody is above the law. And I want to see how the president goes ahead in pushing all of that through his policies. He's insisting on implementation of those policies. We have good policies in the country, nobody would deny that, but the problem we usually have is the implementation of those policies. So I want to see how the president will insist and make sure that everybody implements what has been signed in as law.
What are your thoughts about the speech generally?
So, June 12, 2023 is exactly 30 years from June 12, 1993. So this is 30 years after.
That's symbolic.
And yeah, very symbolic. And we've many lives have been lost in the struggle for our democracy. And for many people, they don't see it like Nigeria is achieving anything substantial with democracy because we're looking at it from our personal economic standpoint. But it would serve us to use this moment to reflect on where we're coming from so that we can acknowledge, and that's what he did with his speech. Okay, he spoke about the fact that in the struggle between 1993 to 1999, we lost the chief MK Abiola, we lost Goodluck Abiola, Alfred Durrani, and a lot of other people that don't have big names, but played an important role in that journey towards democracy. And, their sacrifices. This is why we're doing today. And we should remember that when we feel disgruntled about the election process, or we feel disgruntled about someone in political position, we should be grateful that we have a system that helps us take them out. And we shouldn't, in our anger, destroy the system itself. Bad as a bad in our local language. We have a democracy today. And it's just interesting to read the speech and for knowing history and knowing the part that our current president played during that time and his involvement in the post-election struggle. I'm sure there will be a sense of, maybe not joy, but a sense of it's come a full circle that he's getting to serve in this capacity, even though he was part of the struggle back then.
I like to see, as I someone was telling me that Nigerians, it doesn't take so much to impress us, choosing the right words, saying the right things, how you say it. He was saying that my compatriots, talking about, I understand what you're feeling with this subsidy removal. He was saying that we understand it, but please go through this pain a little longer, just a little longer, because afterwards I'm going to ensure that the proceeds of this will be properly invested. When you hear that kind of thing, you're thinking, okay, how long is a little longer? You begin to engage us, but when you just remove things and people just move on like we don't care, they don't care about us, that's when Nigerians get upset. But when we have a president that's engaging us, it was quite interesting to hear him speak. But more importantly, what I thought was really interesting and powerful was the fact that the renewed hope seemed to be quite symbolic after MK Abiola's Hope 93. It was clearly making a connection that, listen, yes, Hope 93 didn't happen, but I have come as a renewed hope. And and it's just so perfect. So, it's just amazing how everything just worked out, and it's looking like, hopefully, this president may or hopefully will be able to do for us what MK Abiola would have loved to do for the country at that time.
Let me take this quote he mentioned. He said, for a people can never truly appreciate the freedoms and right democracy guarantees until they lose it. Which is why I kept saying, let's not use our hands or, in this case, our typing and our mouth to create a volatile environment that would truncate our democracy that we have. He said, this is the point, we must never take democracy for granted. We must forever guard this democracy jealously and protect it like a precious jewel. So Democracy Day, many of you at home say, what is democracy? The election was clinical election. Please, once again, let's remind ourselves, for those that were alive in 1993, of what Nigeria was like under democracy. And the fact that you can talk like this is because there's democracy.
Yes, so my father-in-law will always say, if you see war, it's not these people are jumping up and down. I witnessed the war. I know what it is for a country to be. I know what it is for you not to be able to speak, for you not to be able to leave your house, for you not to be able to do your business, for you to lose your investments. So peace is all we want. And the fact that we have a president who is speaking, who seems to have emotional intelligence, who seems to be able to connect to the people, I want to believe that this is not just, it's not on such days that we only hear him. We want to hear more of him. He needs to come out and tell us, this is what I'm doing, my people, be a little bit more patient with us. That is what I'm doing. These are the policies. Let us, aside from the fact that he's doing the work, let us also hear him speak to us. And
someone was saying that I was talking about you've not experienced war. I have experienced my father being arrested for speaking.
Wow.
Speaking, he want me carrying food to him to Kirikiri prison because he spoke against Babangida. This same Babangida that is talking. This same Babangida that is saying that we should deepen democracy. These are the same people that he has repented. Okay, these are the same people that that did not allow freedom of expression and speech at the time. And so it was a different time, and young people today don't really understand what that experience was like. And today, many of us have an idea of what happened. we are grateful that we have this sanity and this peace in our nation today.
I remember, I think I had just joined the show. I think it was the year I joined the show when, you know, the conversations about making June 12th Democracy Day.
Yeah.
And I think one of the children came on the show. And for me, I remember that time, I really felt proud of us, like we're doing something right. We'll be able to, our children will be able to, you know, celebrate Democracy Day, understanding the history behind it. And I feel that this president has also given it some sort of weight because of the part that he played in, you know, in the 1993 elections and all that happened. But it also brings to mind that we have in our schools, there was a time in our schools where our children didn't know history. And today, when you have conversations with a lot of people, it's not just children, even adults, we forget so easily. People will say to you, one thing with the Nigerian people is that they will forget easily. So it's important that we make these conversations. These are important conversations that we should have every day. We understand, when we understand her history, it's easier for us to understand where we are today. And it's easier for us to understand who we need to extol for, you know, for the things that they have done, what it is that they have done, the sacrifices that they have made. There are some names we call around and throw around anyhow because we don't know the sacrifices these people have made. We don't know the fight that they have fought. We make them seem like these people are just names. But if you understand the history, then you're able to respect it. And also for yourself, you know, you understand the part you want to play because we're reading about them today and what they did 30 years ago. In 30 years' time, what role would you have played, you know, in your own country's democracy?
Okay, let me take a look at Sean's call and we'll wrap up on this. Good morning, Oluwaseun, you're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sean.
Yeah. Happy Democracy Day.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I remember I was in SS2, SS1, SS2, 30 years ago, and I experienced the military era, and I really appreciate this time that, you know, you see, there's something new about this, you know, regime, this Tinubu's regime, you know, that our president can come out quickly to, you know, talk to us, to tackle issue. You know, for those of us that experience, you know, the Abacha stove, the military era, you know, the era of where there's no freedom, we are appreciating this time. And then I want Nigerians to appreciate this time, especially the young ones. They should go back to history and, you know, talk to, you know, the like of Moriah to explain, you know, what those times were, you know, where you know, you will receive slap from you know, a soldier, you know, if you misbehave. So you know, I'm so happy that, you know, we are celebrating, you know, this time. You know, this time. And then we need to understand that democracy is not magical. It's progressive. You know, what that we want.
It's progressive. It's not magical.
All right, that's all we can take on this segment. But I think we just wanted a few moments just to review the president's speech because that's what everybody's talking about. Would have loved to hear more from Nigerians, but unfortunately we have to wrap up on this. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, once our final segment, stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is 7 of 7. My name is OJ and signing a sobriety into my hands tonight on this social experiment called the 7 of 7. It's Owen G. What is the name, or what was the name?
You see, I want to make them better now.
Rockheart.
No,
Of
the goats when they brought it on stage. The name of that goat.
Yeah.
We should go there.
No, that one easy now.
I'm just drinking this so that I can ask him my own questions. It's not because of
Buga.
He didn't get it. You know, you people, you know. Okay. Mention 10 female stand-up comedians in Nigeria. See, just mention their stage name. If you annoy me, you will mention their real names and the year they started. And if you annoy me further, you mention the names of their husbands and the names of their children. Try me now. Okay, mention their name.
No, let's just.
No, wait. No, don't. No. Name, real name, stage name, husband name, children name, 10 of them.
Even the 10, that's a lot.
Eh?
That's a lot.
Did I cut your question for you?
Yes.
When you were happy now. With your hunchback.
That was it.
You are wasting time. We don't have time. See, my brother, before we go on a commercial break, you are stubborn. And I told you since. The fact that you play this your hair does not mean. You understand? See this bad hair you are looking at. It's experience. I've suffered before you.
But I try now.
When you there during the military era of Abacha and Babangida, you know what happened?
I be Gen Z.
So that Gen Z, I will remove 4 out of 10.
That's like
4 out of 10 they pass exam. Don't drink this thing. Where baby you are on here? Drink out. If I land you.
Ikechukwu Sunday Okonkwo, aka Cross. Now your intro without
Wow.
So there's a name that thing that's.
I'm just drinking because you say I should drink. There's no particular answer.
You think it's only that can be wicked?
What's the answer?
Subterfuge.
Eh?
Yeah. They claim you did, but you said it just happened. That
And it's called what again?
Subterfuge.
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 So you look me finish from head to toe. You look at a person who go know what to become such. Yeah?
The nude wasn't like a game plan. Or...
I promise you, it was actually a mistake. Like.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift,
thanks for staying with us. So I'm sure many of you are wondering why we have our studio decorated with balloons and flowers. It's because this week, we're supposed to celebrate your view. We've been postponing it for a while, and then the next is June 12th day, Democracy Day. Again. But we are thanking God that this last segment is for us. So we're going to be celebrating your view at 10 because it's not beings to be doing on television for 10 years.
Tell me. I like that.
This year has been training me. But the truth is, our team, the production team, put together a mini documentary about the ladies of Your View, stating how they have started, how far they have come, and where we are and their prospects for the future. We'll love our viewers to watch this short documentary, and then after that, we'll have a conversation on it. When I was interviewed to come into TVC as Deputy Director of Programs, I had told my interviewer, the MD at the time, Nigel, that I wanted to have a show in mind which I wanted to host. And he was like, that's fine. You know, he had actually given me 30 days to develop a report that would show the work I wanted to do. And the show of a women sitting down together was one of it, and it was approved. One of the first things I did was bringing my team from High TV. You know, I brought in Akande Olafusi, Yinka Ajijedido, Sheon Arioye, Fumi, so many people that are my close circle in High TV. Those are the guys that I brought in to work with me. I told them, I sat them down together. I said, listen, we have a vision. Our vision is to develop a new channel. We need to rebirth this channel. We give it a new name, new colors, not new name, new identity, new colors, new programs. We started seeing how we can rejuggle some of the programs.
How it started was I came to audition for an entertainment show.
If you know you're bold and beautiful, audition for this.
I was just sitting in my house one day and I got a phone call from Mr. Lukman Musa.
And so I did my 1-minute video. And interestingly, I found that thousands of women across Nigeria had done a 1-minute video. So I had no hopes of getting on, but I was quite surprised when I was asked to come for a physical audition.
When I came, I was in the makeup room. They had to, touch me up.
I didn't know what the show was about.
I remember coming there and there were so many people there, and I sat down beside a lady who had worked at NTA for 15 years. I was like, I'm just here for the numbers. I'm just here for statistics. Nobody's going to even look twice at me.
Actually, a friend of mine, Karen, and I have been thinking of hosting a TV show.
At the end of the conversation, I found out that from our card that I was talking to Mariah Folabi Brown, and she was the Deputy Director of Programs for TVC.
Mariah looked at me and was like, would you like to come if I invite you? And I'm like, yes, I'm up for it.
And how I got into the show was by stumbling into Mariah's then temporary office that looked like a reception. And from that point, we did several auditions.
After a couple of months, I didn't hear from Mr. Musa. I said, no, don't worry, we're working on it. And so subsequently, they used to call me to come, we'd record the show. Me, I didn't know they were doing private auditioning that time. They didn't tell us, so they just said, come, we are just doing recording to see. And then one day, on the 29th of May, was our first show.
And then they gave me newspapers to read, and I was wondering, what is my business with newspaper and coming to talk about how I can rap and do some things,
I got to meet Mariah with a host of staff at the audition, and they asked me questions, I answered, fingers crossed, I left. And then, to my surprise, I was asked to come back for a live audition. I had made it among the best 10 people who had auditioned. I could not believe my luck.
I scaled through the first audition, so I waited in an office to stay out of the sun. And I stumbled into the office. I was having a conversation with someone I did not know at the time. After all the gist, the person told me I could not have qualified for the audition.
And then the show started. It was a good one. And after the show, Mariah looked at me and was like, would you like to come if I invite you? And I'm like, yes, I'm up for it. Because the conversation was so enlightening. We had different views. I think we had a guest that day. Yes, I can remember. And it was good. It was the first time I was experiencing being on live TV like that. And it was fun. So that was how I started coming as a guest co-host, and finally became a host on the show.
The funny part of my story is that I wasn't actually picked. Someone was picked, but 2 weeks after, I was called back by the producers and they said, why don't you come for like a probation period and let's get to see you more. And that was how my journey on Your View began.
We didn't even have a name at the time. We had no clue. In fact, interestingly, we didn't have a name until the day we were about to start the show. It was while I was on set. The producer for me was in my ear telling me, are you sure you want to go with this name? Because we're going to go with the morning show. So the idea then was to replace the morning show at the time with our show. But I told them I wanted it to be called Your View, which was actually an offshoot of the View in the US, which I had watched. And I was there in America when they had the opening of that show, and I fell in love with that show. And I'm like, when I get to Nigeria, I have to do this kind of show. So in my mind, I already have the name of Your View. But my team members were like, no, we can't have a show called Your View. What is that? Please, it's the morning show. Tinka and Fumi were in my ears up until the start of the show. And I said, Uncle, it is Your View. And it was quite, and I told them to use the montage because I asked them to do the both montage for this morning show and Your View. And I insisted to the few seconds to 9 o'clock, I said, use Your View.
The show has opened up a huge platform. I've met several people. I can brag that I've interviewed several governors. I can brag that I've interviewed the last 3 governors of Lagos State. Bragging rights for interviewing the First Lady of Nigeria that is passing out now.
We've had so many guests, I don't think I can think of one without offending the other, because we've had so many fantastic guests on the show. My brother, Femi Kuti, I was on the show. My nephew, Made Kuti, I was on the show when Fashola was governor. That was a good guest too. Charles Okocha, we're global now. I really love that show. And then the young boy, Korede Bello. I don't get a lot. God win.
Picking a favorite guest on the show is like picking a favorite child, because everyone that's come on the show has made, an impact, has opened up my mind, has given me new perspective. So it's really hard for me to pick the favorite person. I have an appreciation and respect for Mr. Fashola, the Minister for Works and Housing, and that was because of how forthcoming he is when it comes to matters of governance. So before your view, usually when you would talk to government officials, they would make it seem like you're asking questions that are way above you. Nothing can be explained, nothing can be understood, because only a group of people have that understanding.
Quite a number of guests that I really like their energy. I like Omaumi, the singer. So it will be favorite guests. I won't just mention one person. I like Princess, the comedian. These are people I know when they come on the show, we are going to have a good laugh. We've had some prominent guests, coming on the show and sharing with us and giving insightful information across the conversation.
I've had so many memorable moments, but I think the one that really stands out is a surprise birthday that was thrown for me by the ladies of Your View. I've never really celebrated my birthday like big or anything, but on this particular day, I was on the show, and at the end of the show, guess what? Someone with a saxophone comes out. The ladies come off, the ladies that were not on the show come off from their hiding places, and I could not believe it. I felt like a princess. I was celebrated on my birthday on the show and for the whole of Nigeria to see.
We're counting down towards our 10th anniversary, and I met somebody saying that I have children just because I watched your show and I met someone who helped me through my surrogacy journey. Finished, so for me that'll be my most impactful show.
Getting the ladies was not an easy task because I was doing so many shows. Entertainment Splash, we had christened Lunch Splash at the time to be Entertainment Splash, and we wanted young people, and that's how Tokwe came in at the time. But I was specific on the kind of show I wanted. I didn't want a show of journalists. I didn't want anybody who had experience on television. I wanted somebody, fresh people. Many of our TV shows had lots of men talking about governance, politics, business, life. And I'm like, women too have opinions. We were quite rusty the first few years, trust me, we had no clue. In fact, we used to get complaints from politicians. They have no idea what is going on in Nigeria. Why are they talking like that? But it was hard the first few years, but eventually, we were able to adjust, and that's how Your View started, and it's been like that since then.
Picking one particular favorite show will be tough, but I'd say that, like many fans that watch, everybody can pick the one they like. I couldn't even pick just one.
It's quite difficult to pick a favorite guest, but the truth is that every single guest that come on that show is a favorite guest. Another memorable part was when the First Lady was coming on our show. Now, at the time, we had never had any First Lady anywhere come on the show, and we were so scared. They're like, we're about to see the First Lady. I remember the ladies then, what are we going to wear? Who's coming with us to makeup? Are we going to Abuja? And we now found out she was coming to Marina in Lagos. We're excited. In fact, even our spouses were there to support us. It was a very, very memorable time for us when we felt really we felt like we're doing something good, because if the First Lady of the nation was willing to sit amongst the ladies of Your View, that moment for me was very instructive of the kind of impact we've had in nation building. So I was really excited. It was a very memorable time for me, and I'm pretty excited about that moment even till now.
My favorite time on the show was after I gave birth to my child, and people didn't know that I was pregnant all through on the show from beginning to the end. So I think that Nigerians tend to I felt I coded it well. People in the studio obviously knew, but a lot of our fans didn't know I was pregnant. So for me, that would be interesting that I hid my pregnancy well all through the show, and I was on the show a day before giving birth. So that would be my favorite time on the show.
We share so many stories on that show. Those of us that like to gist our personal things. There's this story Nima shared one time on the show where she was at an event, and some girls that had properties in front and behind were dancing close to her husband, and she had to jump up from wherever she was sitting.
We went for one party in Long, me and my husband, and because me I don't like public, I sat down shopping, they will reach out. And then I heard the band calling my husband's name, calling the band where he works, hailing him, and some 3 air pass. These people got carry behind, the front, be everything. They go like she's all this way long. They do everything like this. I look at myself and how many times did I call you? Don't be sleeping.
So you got up?
I got up. I didn't say that's in public. I used my stomach. I'm the wife.
I had a good laugh on the show.
I think the most memorable moment for me was when we interviewed the Chibok girls' parents. It was very, heart-wrenching, and it was a very passionate show. So I think I would call that my most memorable.
This one is my funniest moment on the show, and we're talking about a cabal in the villa, and Mama Dara's name came up quite a bit, and BC was talking about it, and she said, "What is that woman doing in that place? She should go back to her house. Doesn't she have a husband?" Then we thought her, we're like, we're a bit confused, like, what's happening? They're like, Mama Dara. We're like, no, it's not Mama Dara, it's Mama Dara. She was like, oh, I don't know. And what I love about her is nothing phases her, and she just moved on like, okay, well, Mama Dara should go back to his house,
One of my most memorable moments was when I removed my wig on national television. Even I was shocked because I didn't plan to. I can't remember the topic we're talking about, but I just felt the need to show that, listen, I can do without a wig, So I took it off, and that video went viral. Everybody was talking about it. It was a major, major memorable moment that I could never forget. Even till tomorrow, I still get people sending me that video, like, Mariah, how could you take your hair off on national TV? Yeah, so.
Low point of the show will be October 21st, 2020, and it will be 7 years after being on the show and feeling like we've contributed a whole lot, speaking truth to power, adding value to people's lives, contributing our quota, and we were now the victims of being attacked by people who just felt that we represented something that they did not agree with. So yes, that was a very low point on the show.
It was really a very touching time for all the ladies of Your View and TVC as a whole, because the place was really attacked. We had people who got injured, had cars got damaged. The ladies, a few of them were just barely able to escape, and it was really a low moment.
It was heartbreaking. It was so sad. It was so sad for me, especially because I felt that the ladies of Your View have always used that platform and their voice to speak up for the regular Nigerian, for the Nigerian just like you and I. And we have always spoken up to government, said the truth, and especially when it had to do with the NSAS conversations, I believe we're one of the very first platforms to allow for people to come and express their views. And social media started a false narrative that we were supporting something very different. At first we ignored it because we thought no one who had watched the show for as long as they had watched the show would question, what our stands were.
One of the lowest points of the show was when I said my husband could never bath my children. That was a very low point because I was broken, because I got so condemned by the public, viewers, friends, families, even loved ones condemned me on this matter. I had very few people on my side. It's worthy of note to say that I had a few mentors who stood by me during that period. So that morning, the current First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, called me and told me she was in camp, that she's going to gather a few pastors, they're going to pray along with me. She said, I want you to go on set and I want you to apologize to your husband on national TV. In my mind, I'm like, hey? She said, yes, because you must apologize. I knew I owed him an apology, but I just didn't think I should do it on TV. She was the one that instructed me to do it on TV. And then I now called the director of news, Stella Dean Jacob, to ask her, like, okay, Senator Tinubu just called me and told me to do this. What do you think? She said, Mariah, I think it's a good idea. I think you should apologize to him on TV. So I went on TV that day, the next day, and I apologized. And I didn't plan to cry. I was going to comport. In fact, I was specifically asked to comport myself and not cry. But I did the exact opposite. As I started like this, I broke down on TV. And it was a really, really down time for me because my husband didn't deserve the kind of attention he got concerning because of the kind of person he is. He's a man of God. He's the kind of person that reveres God and all that. So I was shocked when everybody started calling him names that did not belong to him. So it was a downtime for the family, but I'm thankful they stood by me. My family members stood by me. But it was hard, but it took us time to evolve. Yes, he didn't exert or express his anger outside for the public. Internally, I knew that he was mad at me, trust me.
Lessons learned on the show. Number one, current affairs is very important. Before I started the show, I was not current. Today, I read papers, I listen to the news. I can't believe that when you come into my room, my TV is on the news channel. You know, I like to hear news all the time. I like to know what is happening. So I think that's been my most important lesson that I've learned on the show, is being current, knowing what's happening in the government.
Be comfortable enough to air your opinion and stand by it. And when the backlash comes, it's okay. I've also learned that people will hail you and tomorrow they will yab you. I see the show 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, different people on the panel still doing what it was originally meant to do, adding value, speaking truth to power, providing platform for women to express themselves. I'm excited about what the future holds, and I'm excited about 10 years down the line.
I've learned not to be so reactive, to you know, see the issues as it is, you know, and find a way to not take it personal. Yes, I'm still learning not to take issues personal. So sometimes on the show, when I get comments, fans sending direct attacks to me, probably because I've said something that they do not believe in. I used to be very reactive, but these days I'm learning to just read the comments and ignore and move on to something else, because most times it's not about me. It's about what they are feeling at the time that they are sending the comments.
For me, I need to say this especially. When I joined the show, I would say, you know, I was still finding my voice and finding my confidence. But having been on the show for a while, I will say definitely my voice has, you know, my voice is stronger and my confidence, you know, even more tangible. And I've learned that it's because you show up every day and do not pay too much attention to the small mistakes. If you show up the next day, you do better. And every day you show up, you just do better. And so I've learned that, you know, you can build confidence. And whatever it is that you're not good at today, as long as you're showing up and you're consistent, you will get better and you will do better.
Grateful to God for the platform, grateful to God for Mariah putting the show together. I'm grateful to all the successive leaders that we've had for TVC, you know, because if you don't have the platform to house the show, you don't have a show. So grateful to all the directors that we've had, the CEOs of TVC from hand to hand and where we are so far. Grateful for our current directors, the team behind the scene, the team that started the show, and the team grooming the show right now. I don't think that there is one person that will say, oh, I am the one. Your view is successful because many people have put in their sweat, their blood, their energy into contributing into this show. And for everyone at one point or the other who has contributed to this show, thank you. God bless you.
The show is beyond whatever plans Mariah Afolabi Brown had for the show. The show has grown way beyond her. I see the show growing way beyond the individuals right now. More people will come in, more people will be a part of the show, and we will look back and say, I was a part of Your View. I am grateful for the opportunity to be one of Your View ladies. I am grateful for meeting Mariah Afolabi Brown. I'm grateful for her ability to spot talent and say, okay, I think you can do well here and I think you can do well there. I'm grateful that she answered her calling. If she hadn't set up the show, maybe I won't be here today. I'm grateful for the team that, you know, worked timelessly over and over to ensure that we have a good and an amazing show. I'm grateful for the producers, I'm grateful for the directors, the ones before, the ones that are going to come, you know. I'm grateful for the makeup artists, those people behind the scenes that put this together, the cameramen, you know, everybody who is involved in bringing Your View to the spotlight. I'm happy to be a part of the team.
As in the 10th year already, Your View has become a legacy product, a legacy program. When you talk about our country today and talk about what's mainstream, you would call Your View. And some of us have become household names. And as exhilarating as that can be, it's also quite humbling. And it is humbling because we know that it's beyond who we are today, but just the words that we have spoken, the platform that we have and able to use our voice. So I do see in 20, 30, 50 years, women much younger than us, our children, doing this. And yes, so in a few more years or many more years to come, I just think that we'll be bigger, more impactful, and we will change the world. I am so appreciative that we as a team are working together, not only to give you good content, but also to give you impactful and wholesome content. So I appreciate that I'm part of this group. I appreciate that I'm a part of a positive group like ours.
My dream for Your View is to be like Barbara Walters. Wake up in the morning, take a cup of tea, relax, put up your TV, and watch the ladies of Your View expressing their views. I want to be 19 years old, watching Your View ladies talking truth to power, speaking. I want to see different generations of Your View. I want to see women continually express their opinions in different ways. I love the fact that since Your View started, there's been lots of replications of the same format. Many people have started shows where women sit down together and gather. That's a success to Your View. That's something we're so proud of, and we hope that this will continue. So it's a good platform where people have been able to show that we can actually agree to disagree. We're a nation because we're diverse. So my dream is for Your View to continually to go beyond me and the ladies who are there today. Our hope is that when we are 90, we're seeing young people taking over the show. Oh, I would love to appreciate all those who have made Your View possible. The very first person I must acknowledge is Mr. Lemi Olalemi. He was the former managing director of TVC. He was one man that stood by us. No matter how things went down, Mr. Lemi will always come and remind us that, listen, I'm behind you. You're going to make this happen. Don't mind the people outside. Don't mind the forces. I am with you. So, Mr. Lemi, thank you. I also like to thank the current managing director, Mr. Andrew Hanlon. He's been a great support because he provides a platform for us and has helped the show to evolve. He has been there to give us all the necessary support. Also, the current director, Folari, thank you so much for your continuous support and grooming us, the ladies. I must not forget the late RDJ. RDJ also helped us with our speaking, helped us with our posture, he helped us with how we carry the tea, all the various things we see on TV. And to the team that started Your View, I must acknowledge them. They have been so amazing. The very first producer was Fumi. She was the very first producer. Me and her used to fight, you know, but she was a leader. Then Mr. Lukman Musa was one that helped us with the planning of the show, as in the format itself was developed by myself and Mr. Musa. We had Yinka Jijedu who came up with the design. We had Sheon Warioye at the time. Everybody was a team, and it was a team effort. Aki Adeola Fusi was also part of the development of the show. And now today we have the team who has been taking on the burden, Mr. Dola Pamara Desa with his team. So many other people who have every single day, and I cannot forget the men behind the cameras. They're always there, Mr. Aki and his entire team, and the makeup artists. Thank you so much, guys. You've always been there. We've had so many makeup artists that have been there from the beginning, and they're still there. So the team, 10 years of Your View, and it's not just 10 years, it's every single day for 10 years, Monday through Friday. It's not beans. It's not beans. Thank you to the entire team. God bless you. Thank you so much for upholding the dream of Your View, and we hope that as Your View progresses to 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, many of you will be proud of what you started 10 years ago.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Fantastic. I mean, I had goosebumps.
I had so much fun watching it. I was just wondering.
You got to show that again. I mean,
yes,
I was just saying because lots of our viewers
yeah.
on television didn't see. So hopefully we can show you sometime again this week. But I'm pretty excited. Guys, your thoughts, let me just come to you. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless right now. But it's been 10 years, but I must acknowledge Nima Akasha Zibiri. She's on medical leave. I mean, many of her fans have been asking, where is Nima? Where is Nima? Nima has not gone anywhere. She's just taking time out to be 100%. When she's back, you're definitely going to see her back on the show. She told us we can tell you that she's on medical leave right now. But please, she's not away from the show. She's part of the team.
Part of
There are
us.
still 6 ladies of Your View. Waike was out for a long time. She just came in last week, so we have to just throw in our own interview quickly. But Nima is still definitely much with us. Ladies, your thoughts on the video?
It was interesting to see how far we had come. You know, sometimes when you come every day, you become so used to it that you do not know how far you're going. You do not know the impact you're making. Your View is a platform that even when we travel outside the country, you would definitely find people who recognize you and say, that topic you talked about that day touched me. We'll get messages every day to say this aspect of life that you touched on, this aspect of life helped me. I was able to change. I was able to grow. I remember there was one very interesting incident with a lady who came to my store at the trade fair, and she sat down. She said I had helped to change her life, that she listens to the show every day. Now she knows how to take care of herself. She hears us out. You know, she's improving. She showed and spoke how her life had improved just by watching the show every morning. It gave me goosebumps, and I was happy that it may seem like it's little, but we're making impact. That's just it for me.
Yeah, very good.
Mariam?
I thought that when they asked us to put together content for that stuff, I thought I mentioned natural hair journey, because I'm natural today. It just occurred to me something that I really loved about the wave of natural hair that first blew through TVC and then around everywhere. But it's a blessing, and I know we're celebrating all week, so we're still going to get to comment on this all week. Let me let Mariam come in.
Yes. We have very little time, but I just want to say, personally for me, the first thing would be that I have a group of sisters. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, I think I'd like to reiterate that. You know, I think I was even talking with her, told when she went to, I was in Dubai, you went to, and she was saying that one of the key things she learned there was how you create a system or you create a group, or there's a phrase, a tribe. You know, she was trying to tell Mariam, we already have a tribe. Like you, the ladies, us, we are a tribe. We need to build on that. We need to make that something. And that's true. We have a jewel here. This team of 6 ladies working together is something. So I think this celebration is just the beginning. Because yes, we've done Your View together, but we can do greater things together. And I think I love that tribe, and I think that connection brings us together.
Yes, I will finish. So I'm grateful for the sisters. But we're grateful for all our viewers. See, it doesn't matter if it's a positive feedback or a criticism. We thank you, because they say iron sharpeneth iron. So sometimes, even when we get a feedback that we're not too happy about, at least we learn from it. So thank you for being with us all through the years. For me personally, it's been 5 years. For the whole show, it's been 10 years. I hear people, I met someone who says, I've been watching Your View since I was a little girl. I was like, me?
Oh, please.
You're like, oh, you know. But we're just so grateful. The young, the old, men, women, just thank you for being on this journey with us.
I'd like to thank the platform. You know, nothing beats a platform like TVC, and that's the truth. TVC has been very gracious to give us this platform. And me especially, I am somebody that, the truth is that if I go through a presentation exam today, I might fail, because I don't have the attributes of a presenter. I stutter on my words. I speak very fast. There are a few things that, even till now, I still struggle with. But somehow, God has just put this grace for us to be able to do this thing effectively and graciously for so long. And I'm thankful for that opportunity, that I have women who are smart, who are eloquent, who are articulate, and able to make this show what it is. So it's not just about me, it's about women, it's about a team, it's about a group of people who have put this show together. And I thank God for them, and I'm grateful to God for 10 years of consistency. You can't buy that. Thank you so much for all you've done. There's going to break now. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, we see you tomorrow.
It's done. The show is done.
We're seeing tomorrow.
Bye for now. Thank you.